Yo, yo, yo. The boys are back. It's playoff time. NBA currently happening.
For a special episode.
Yeah, there it is. That's the only basketball left.
You know what this episode is?
Episode 40.
For the season?
Oh, I don't know for the season.
I don't know for the season
No.
either.
No, I'm saying overall. Isn't it 40? For this I guess this season it's like 37.
Oh.
Overall, is it 100?
It is the 100th week of recording.
Wow.
Or 100th, I guess, episode day that we put out.
Wow.
Because we've been doubling up a little bit now.
Yeah,
but
so
like the 100th week that
we'll have an
put
episode
an
out.
episode out. Yeah.
Wow. Look at us. Time flies.
Isn't that crazy?
100.
Yeah.
That's pretty long.
The triple digits.
That is triple digits.
Did you think that we were going to get here?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. I mean, that's only, we're 4 away from 2 years?
No.
Are you saying since you're double dipping, are you counting that at like as 99 and 100?
No.
Yeah, so 100, wouldn't 104 be 2 years? 52 weeks in a year? Times 2?
Well, we've been doing it for 2 years, over 2 years now, right? Because we started 2022 March Madness, and we went one whole year and missed 1 week, right? So
I guess because we take the summers off. Yeah.
So then we took last summer off.
Yep.
So then it's like the last 2 seasons have fit in the same amount as the first season.
Yep. There you go.
So
number 100.
The 100th week that you've been with us.
Wow. Good for you guys.
Big time.
Keeping it here.
I didn't know if you knew or not.
I did not. Now that makes sense. I guess I didn't really do the math, but it makes sense.
Yep. So there you go.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking with us.
There it is.
All right, let's jump in. NBA playoffs are starting. We got the play-in during this week. So by the time that you listen on Thursday, we're recording on Tuesday. On Thursday, it will be the matchups for the 8 seeds on Thursday, and I think there's a game on Friday, right?
I believe so. So we'll know the 7 seeds for sure.
By the end of Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Thursday, there's one playing game, the West playing game for the 8 seed. And then
this is Friday. Thursday, there's no games. Friday is the both of the games.
Oh, both are on Friday.
So they take Thursday off, both Friday, then they start on
I guess
Saturday.
for travel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then we got Friday for the 8 seeds, and then first round officially starts on Saturday.
Yep. So then you play Friday, Saturday. Yeah.
Well, no, the first round starts Friday. The teams that win on Friday play Sunday. That's how it's structured. Because the 8 seeds play the 1 seeds on Sunday.
No, right. So the playoffs start Saturday.
Correct.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to run through matchups, talk a little bit about each series, and this will act as your in-depth analysis of what you can expect for the next 2 to 3-ish weeks.
There it is. Start with the East.
We're starting with the East, starting at the top with the Boston Celtics. Currently, their opponent is TBD because of what we just mentioned. The options are the Hawks, the Bulls, the 76ers, or the Heat.
Yeah. I will say this. I think probably the most likely would be the Heat or the Sixers.
Whoever loses. So those 2 teams play, and the winner is the 7th seed.
Yep, and then the loser plays the winner of the 9-10.
Of the Hawks and the Bulls.
Hawks and the Bulls.
To then play Boston.
Yep, and so I think, those 2 teams will make it. I do think if it's the Heat, I mean, either team I think is going to have troubles with the Celtics.
Well, obviously, that's an obvious statement. Who do you think is going to give them a better matchup?
I think the Sixers do. I think the Sixers with Embiid coming back are a very tough matchup for any team they have to play.
The problem is, who do you think is going to win between the Heat and the 76ers?
76ers.
Exactly. So
they won't play each other. That's what I'm saying. They won't play each other, but if there was, I think the Celtics will easily take care of the Heat, but the harder matchup would be the Celtics. Or the harder matchup would be the Sixers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that will also be a challenging matchup for the Knicks, who are the 2 seed. You have the Hawks and the Bulls in that 9-10 game. Yeah. By the time we're listening, that will have already happened, right? Mm-hmm. But Boston was 2-2 against the Hawks this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they were 3-0 against the Bulls.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Hawks have a chance
to win twice?
Yeah.
No. I think they can. I think they can beat the Bulls. But going to Chicago, yes, Trae Young is back. I think they can outshoot him, but I just don't think they beat the Heat in that game to decide it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the Bulls will actually be a very good contest too. I think the Bulls are a pretty good, solid team. I think the Hawks just have too many holes.
The Bulls are too up and down.
Yeah, but so are the Hawks. Yeah, the Hawks are up and down because of injuries, but they don't play defense. They just score. So they're gonna have to outscore the Bulls, and I don't know. The Bulls aren't bad, and you're playing at home.
Okay, so we'll just assume that the 76ers beat the Heat, right?
That's
what we're gonna assume.
Yep.
Order the Heat, Hawks, Bulls compared to Boston, or to give Boston a challenge.
Give them a challenge?
Yes.
I would say Heat, Hawks, Bulls. Way you named it. I would say the Heat give them the best challenge, then the Hawks. They're very close 1-2. I think the Bulls are way below.
Why do you think the Heat?
Because I think the Heat have the experience and they always play well in the playoffs. And they're a very good defensive team. And I think they do match up very well with the Celtics. I think they match up better than the other two. I just think the Celtics.
I almost think the Hawks.
Why? Because they're 2-2 against them in the regular season?
No, because the Heat play so slowly.
Yeah.
That I think Boston's offense is just so much better that, the Heat are focused on defense, but the Celtics offense is just so good. And they can beat you at literally every spot on the court.
Yeah.
Whereas the Hawks, they are way focused on perimeter-oriented offense, right? They've got all of their best players are perimeter guys. And so if they get hot on the perimeter, then they can score way more against whoever they're playing. Mm-hmm. And they would just be trying to make it a shootout. It's not like their best option is to stop the Celtics. Their best option is to just outscore them.
Yeah.
And I think that gives them a way better chance. Do I think they're going to win? No.
I just think come playoff time, defense trumps these offensive teams that only score and don't play at defense.
Yeah, but if you're an 8 trying to upset a 1,
well, you're going to have to outscore them, but you're also... But I think if you can hold a team to 100 points, potentially you give yourself a chance defensively.
The likelihood of holding the Celtics to 100 points is probably very small.
I don't know, but I'm just saying, that. I just think outscoring the team is a very tall task, especially against the Celtics, who defense is going to get amplified in the playoffs. I don't know if the Hawks are going to be able to compete with them. I don't think either team is going to have a chance, but that's why I took the Heat. I think the defense trumps the offense.
Okay, so let's talk about Boston for a second here.
Yeah.
A lot of people are picking them to win the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I think, what are they? Are they the favorites?
Yeah, they're plus 135.
To win the whole
championship.
Jeez.
It's either plus 135 or plus 165.
Okay, so it's still pretty low.
It's the lowest. And then Nuggets are at plus 300.
Yeah. Okay.
Barely higher though.
Wow.
But then the next one is plus 1,000.
Yeah. Dang. Okay. So they're expecting it to be Celtics Nuggets.
Yeah.
Why do you think that Boston can win the championship?
I think what you said. I think with the offensive firepower that they have, I mean, they're literally from top down. Their starting 5 is the best starting 5. I think overall.
They're the most well-rounded.
They're the most well-rounded. Granted, in the past, they've also been very well-rounded and have come into it high hopes, and they've kind of not performed. But I do think at some point, this is the one time where it's just I think they're just going to take over, and I think they're sick of losing in the second round, third round. And expectations are high, but I think Tatum's probably going to score 30 points a game.
So why do you think this year's different than the rest of the years?
Just the experience. Also, Porzingis is playing very well. You have a more experienced team where Al Horford probably comes off the bench.
Yeah, depending on matchup.
But I'm just saying, if you got a guy that comes off the bench,
coming off the bench.
Pritchard's playing well off the bench. You have a decent.
Well, the reason why he's playing well is because he's the one that's playing the most of the minutes.
Well, yeah, but
down the stretch.
Yeah, but that also 100%. But that's what I'm saying. They have a deeper team that they can bring in guys who are just as good as some teams. Obviously, better than some teams' seconds. You don't win 64 games without having a deep bench. It would be very shocking if the Celtics don't make it to the finals.
To the NBA Finals.
To the NBA Finals.
Okay.
Especially when you look top down. I think the Bucks are not playing very well, especially with the Giannis injury, and so that's their hardest contest. No, I'm not. I'm just saying. I think that's the hardest part. I look at these other teams. I don't even think they're they shouldn't even be a challenge for the Celtics.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the second seeded team, New York.
Yeah, snuck in.
We got the Knicks. They were able to get the 2 seed. The Bucks didn't really make it a challenge because they got steamrolled by like 30 on the last day of the regular season.
Yeah.
So all the Knicks had to do was win. They ended up winning in overtime. But
against the Bulls.
Yes, they did. So they're going to play the Heat or the 76ers. They went 2-1 against the Heat and 3-1 against the 76ers. But
I don't know. Joel Embiid wasn't there.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's so hard because even Boston, you're looking at how they did against the 76ers. They went 3-1, but most of the year Embiid was out. Now he's back, and so it's very hard to say, oh yeah, they were so successful against the 76ers in the regular season. Well, that it's a completely different team now.
Yeah, and I think Philadelphia has that. Like, you have arguably the MVP. Well, I mean, if he was healthy the whole year, he would be in contention for the MVP.
Definitely in contention.
You're on a 9-game winning streak since he's come back. I know he hasn't played in all these games, but you're on a 9-game winning streak.
Yeah, he didn't play all the games, but
to roll.
All the games that he's been back, they've won.
Yeah, and once you start rolling, and also with him, he's one of the best players in the league for a reason, and working around him. I mean, the team is just so different with him. I don't think any team wants to play the Sixers, regardless, first round or whatever. I think they could be a very good team and upset the Knicks.
Might have been why Milwaukee did not try and win that game. But, all right, so we'll just go off the assumption that we got the 76ers against the Knicks. Because I think that is probably what will happen. Yeah. Who knows if it will, but that will make it a little bit easier to talk about the series. So we got the Knicks and the 76ers. What would be the most important part of that series that would determine the outcome?
I think the biggest thing will be the second person on the Knicks to continue to play well and score. I think you have Jalen Brunson, who's, I don't want to say potentially in the MVP candidate because I don't know if he was that good, but he brought them to this.
But we could just say a potential first team All-NBA.
Yeah, first team All-NBA, deservingly so, and has kind of carried the load. I think it's very difficult when you have one guy and you're playing from behind and you're not a team that plays super, super fast pace. You need a lot more guys to pick up the pace, and when you look at it, Embiid coming back for the playoffs, like I said, and you don't have a Julius Randle to match up against him, it's going to be very tough. So I think that could be the one upset alert. This series will be very intriguing.
Well, they would probably,
if they play each other.
Yeah, they would probably put Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson.
Robinson probably.
Well, Hartenstein starts.
Hart starts, and then it would be probably. I think Mitchell Robinson would be. He's just more athletic. Joel Embiid's just going to take everybody. I mean.
Well, they'll be cycling those guys in.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like the best situation, but they play Josh Hart at the 4, and he's not as big, obviously. So they wouldn't be able to let him match up against Embiid. So, I mean, unfortunately, I think Embiid will probably average over 30 points a game that series.
I mean, Jalen Brunson will have to, I think, average over 30. Also, if we're getting, talking about that.
So, in theory, those two kind of cancel each other out, right?
Yeah.
The best players on both teams kind of cancel each other out. So then you look at the other options that they got. I mean, you got DiVincenzo. He's probably the second option for the Knicks.
Is OG out?
No. But I would say DiVincenzo's
DiVincenzo's
the second offensive option.
Yeah.
So they'll probably match up. They'll probably go OG on Tyrese Maxey.
Okay.
Yep. They'll probably go. Who starts at the 2 for the Sixers?
Tobias is the 3. Who is that 2?
I'm not as familiar with the Sixers.
I don't know, but so basically the starting roster for the Knicks would be Jalen Brunson, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, OG, and Hartenstein.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, look up the Sixers. See who they've been starting lately.
I guess we'll just look at their last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Maxey, Kyle Lowry, Tobias Harris, Oubre,
Oh, Oubre.
and Embiid.
Okay, so they probably
And Batum comes off the bench and plays a ton. He played 30 minutes. Lowry only played 24.
Okay, so they'll put Brunson on Lowry. They'll put OG on Tyrese Maxey.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put probably
Josh Hart on Oubre.
I would think that they would probably put Josh Hart on Tobias Harris.
Okay.
And then they'll put DiVincenzo on Oubre.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the hard part is if you come out and you take Batum for Lowry, you have a lot more size. I mean, the Knicks are going to be smaller. It's not going to hurt. I mean, Josh Hart at the 4 is pretty small.
Yeah, but he's able to get a lot of rebounds, so it doesn't really like his activity takes away, like, kind of hides his lack of size.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a pretty good matchup with the Knicks and the 76ers in terms of just like starting lineups matching up.
Yeah, 100%. I just don't know. After, like I said, I mean, you're relying, and it's not a bad guy to rely on, but it's a big ask for Jalen Brunson to keep up with Joel Embiid.
Scoring wise?
Just overall, Joel Embiid is arguably the best player in the league. I think not only scoring, like Jalen Brunson can score, but who else is going to score on the Knicks?
DiVincenzo?
Potentially. What does he average? 15?
I mean, anywhere from 15 to 25.
And I would take Maxey over him.
Well, yeah, so...
That's what I'm saying. So, when you compare the 1-to-1s, I would take the Sixers lineup over the Knicks.
Okay, so do you think the 76ers are going to beat the Knicks?
I do.
Really?
Yep. If they play each other, I do.
Okay.
I actually would want that because I think if the Sixers unfortunately had to play the Celtics, I don't know how that would go for them.
Okay.
That would be a fun matchup to watch too, but...
I'm going to go with the Knicks.
In what, 6? 7?
I mean,
5?
Who knows if they'll actually play each other, but, I'm going to go with the Knicks beating the Sixers.
And how many, Chris? This is all hypothetical because we don't know about the Sixers.
In 6?
6? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Jalen Brunson can keep up with Embiid. I mean, he's been scoring 30 a game almost every game.
He's had to.
Exactly. So I think he's got it in him.
Okay, we'll see.
All right, we're moving on.
You didn't get your matchup.
What?
You didn't get your Cavaliers-Knicks matchup.
I
We were
know.
talking about it.
That's okay. It honestly, if the Knicks end up playing the Heat, very similar matchup.
Yes. Almost the exact same.
So it works
low
itself
scoring.
out. All right, we're moving on. 3rd seed Milwaukee playing the 6th seed Indiana.
This is interesting
This
because
is
it's already come out in what that
this is a series.
Giannis isn't playing the first few games,
might not be. They're
Might not be.
bracing for him to potentially not play.
and man, is that team different? without
Not
him.
what you want
Holy
if you're a
moly!
Bucks fan. Yeah.
God.
The other issue that Milwaukee has had, they're 1-4 against the Pacers this year.
I think the Pacers are a similar team to what you say before the Hawks. The Pacers
The Hawks.
score.
Exactly. Those are, I mean, we can look it up, but
They have to be the 2 highest scoring teams.
and Celtics.
Yeah, and the Celtics. But I mean, they average 123 points a game. Pacers. It's got to be up there. So I think, truthfully, yeah, if Giannis is out the first few and they might lose one, that's tough. That is tough sledding.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out the Hawks because Trae Young was out a lot of the year.
Right.
So that makes it harder to figure out what their offense actually looks like. But
Yeah.
Celtics were number 1, Pacers were number 2.
Yeah. The difference is, I think, when you look at like the Celtics compared to these other teams,
Bucks
didn't-
were 6.
they didn't have any big injuries.
The Pacers?
Yeah. No, the Celtics.
Oh, the Celtics.
Like you look at like these other teams, Julius Randle, okay, Giannis, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just said, Trae Young, okay. Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell, okay. I mean, so the
Yeah.
Celtics were fortunate.
Correct.
They are very deep.
That helps.
That helps.
So, this series is, what do you think's gonna determine the series? You can't say Giannis playing or not playing because obviously, if he doesn't play, that's gonna be the biggest thing. But outside of him playing or not playing, what do you think is gonna be the biggest determining factor of who wins the series?
Ooh. because I think the Pacers could upset them. Obviously, caveat, yes, a huge caveat is Giannis, but I think the Pacers just being able to continually score. I feel like lately they have, but they've also been giving up a lot of points. They probably give up the most points in the league, or close. But I think it will come down to that, and I think if they can steal one of the early ones in Milwaukee, they give themselves a very good chance to pull off the series. So my key would be winning one of the first 2 games.
Okay. Let's see. Defensive. The Hawks are the worst defensive team.
And the Pacers are second.
4th to worst.
4th worst.
I mean, you've got the Pistons and the Raptors in there, so
Yeah, I forgot
2
about
of the
this.
worst teams.
So the Pistons were eliminated, I think, from playoff contention in the 2nd week of the NBA.
Yeah, maybe the first.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So if I had to give mine, it will be if Tyrese Halliburton figures out how to get back to the way that he was playing around the in-season tournament. I mean, he was absolutely dominating in the play-in tournament. Like, this bro was doing everything for them. He was averaging, like, I don't know, 11 to 12, 13 assists a game. And it seems like ever since he came back from injury, he's definitely taken a step back and just, like, hasn't had what it takes. Like, he went through a really long shooting slump, and then he hasn't been assisting as many plays. I haven't necessarily watched specifically their games, so I don't know if they're just, like, running different stuff and he's not the one that's creating things. But I think for them to reach their full potential, he's going to have to kind of drive the ship, and that's going to mean him scoring and assisting. Like, you need your best players to play really well in the playoffs to move on, and he's their best player, so they need him to step up.
Well, I think we also talked about it too with the Pacers. Once they came back from the All-Star break, I think he had 5, 6, 7 straight games where he had like 5 points, and he was shooting horribly.
He was really bad.
Before that, for all you other gamblers, prize picks, he was a guaranteed over 15.5 rebounds assists. I mean, he was getting 18, 20 easily. And now something changed.
Sometimes 14
assists.
Or 15 assists.
Period.
Just by itself.
So that's what I'm saying. So yeah, like you said, something switched, and then obviously he hasn't really gotten back to himself. And he's a very good 3-point shooter, but it's like he kind of fell off a little bit. And so yeah, he's got to come back.
Yep. For them to beat Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I
mean, the other story though will be for Milwaukee. If Giannis, quote unquote, is out, like Dame's gonna have to basically just carry him. This is the reason. Yeah. I mean, you're hoping he's only out maybe 2 games. 1 or 2 games.
Does it feel like this happens almost every year to the Bucks? Like Giannis somehow gets hurt towards the end of the regular season?
Yeah, and then they really show their true colors without him, where they just suck the last like 5 games, and it's like. But usually I feel like it's like, oh, playoffs, Giannis is okay. This is like he's limping into the playoffs. So, and it was a non-contact injury.
It's good that they got Dame.
Yep.
Right, because if they didn't have him and they had Drew Holiday instead, they just don't have the offensive firepower.
I think it'd be a different story. Yeah, I think Chris Middleton has been washed.
Well, he was hurt.
But he's always hurt. He is literally always hurt.
I don't know one way or the other, so I can't say.
But I'm just saying he's gonna have to step up too in place of.
It'll be a team effort. I mean, Bobby Portis can step up.
I love Bobby Portis. Good player, fun player to watch.
Yep.
Plays with actually some juice.
So we'll see. Indiana's gonna try and push the pace. They're gonna try and outscore Milwaukee, and so Milwaukee not having their main hog in the stable, they're gonna have to find other ways to score or slow the game down. So if it's a slow down game, Milwaukee might be able to take it.
Do you think so? If you're Milwaukee, let's say hypothetically Giannis is out first game, do you try to slow it down a lot?
Yes.
Okay. Do you try to just slow it down even if Giannis is there, or do you try to just go pace for pace?
No, I mean it'll be a slower game if Milwaukee's controlling the pace, right? Obviously.
I don't think you can get much.
It's hard to control the pace against Indiana because a lot of times things are just so wide open that it's like, well, I have to take this wide open lane to the basket. And so in that regard, like it just naturally picks up the pace because things are just so wide open. But it will benefit the Bucks if they slow it down a little bit because they don't have as much firepower. So it's just going to help.
Yeah. The Indiana Pacers average 22 fouls a game.
See, that's a lot.
That's
It's a lot of easy lanes to the basket. It's a lot of free
hacking.
throws. All right, let's move on. Last series of the Eastern Conference. We've got the Cavaliers against Orlando.
Yeah, very
Orlando won on the last day of the regular season to stay out of the play-in, get that 5 seed. They split the season series 2-2.
Okay.
So, fairly even matchup. You could argue that Cleveland lost at the end of the regular season to try and get into this game. So, what do you think? How do you see this going?
Yeah, I think this will be a very interesting game also. I think Orlando has been a lot better and kind of, not necessarily under the radar, but like they have very good players. They're obviously very young.
The second best defensive rating.
They also won their little
league.
division. They won the Southeast Division. Is that a division? Conference? Division?
It's a division.
Division. They won they had 47 wins in 35. I bet you they were projected, their division's also
Terrible.
ass. But the bottom 2 teams were Washington
And the third bottom team is Atlanta.
So anyways,
It was a 2-horse race.
It was a 2-horse race, and the Heat obviously
By
always
default.
like to just finish in the play-in game because that's just who they are. So, but I do think Orlando. I think this will be a very exciting season. I think Orlando has some star power, like Banchero, whatever his name is, very good player. So I think he'll take it to him. I think that'll be a very exciting matchup to watch between him and Donovan Mitchell. I just don't like the Cavs, watching the Cavs, because they're so slow. They're so slow. I don't get it. They don't fast break. Just push the pace.
They're middle to middle below, like just a little bit below the middle of the league in terms of offensive rating. So it's not like they're so slow.
They're pretty slow.
Or they're so bad at offense.
But I could see this matchup going 7. I think this will be a very intriguing matchup.
You do?
Yes. I think experience will kind of hurt them in the first few games, but I think once you go back home, play in front of the home crowd, you kind of get those jitters out and you're fine.
To be quite honest with you, I don't think this series is going to be close at all.
You think it's going to be a sweep?
Maybe not a sweep. It's always hard to call out a sweep, but I think that it could definitely go 5.
So 4-1?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
With the Cavs winning.
Yeah.
Because their number 1 option, better. Donovan Mitchell is better than Banchero.
Yep.
Number 2 option, Garland, probably. Better than Wagner.
Yeah. Yep.
You could say it's a toss-up, but I would say that
you could say
Garland's better.
Yeah.
I mean, you go down the list and every single position is just better.
Yeah, but
they have the experience.
Yep.
They have home court advantage. It's hard to see a scenario where the Magic win this series. Like, I just don't see it. Maybe next year they have a better shot at it, but they're just too young, too inexperienced to go up against a team that has been in the playoffs before. They got guys that know how it is, and it's not like they only are gonna focus on like scoring a ton of points, right? Like, Cavs can score, but they can also win a slow down game. So
I think I would say they would actually rather play the slow down game. I mean, I know they can score a little bit.
They'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm really not that.
The hard part about the Cavs is it's the same way kind of with those other teams that we mentioned with the Cavs, the Heat and stuff. If you are behind early, the Cavaliers probably have the best chance of coming back, but you don't play that style, so it's very difficult to make up that ground if that is the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, should be interesting.
Yeah. That series starts on Saturday. All right, let's move to the Western Conference.
Western Conference.
Number 1 seed, Oklahoma City Thunder.
Fun.
Did you ever see that coming?
Did I see it coming?
Yes. Did you see that as a possibility?
No. Like, are we talking beginning of the year?
Yeah.
No. I thought they would be. I thought that would be pretty good. And Shea's played out of his mind this whole year, but I think to win the whole thing, granted,
was surprising.
Some would say that the Nuggets losing to the Spurs After that, going into the last game, yes, I could see.
Yeah, but the Thunder did win like 8 in a row at the end.
Yeah, they got hot. I mean, they're good. I mean, they're solid. They're solid. Chet's playing very well. You have obviously Shea is MVP caliber-esque
He's in the conversation.
for sure in the conversation. But yeah, I think this. I didn't see them getting the number one for sure.
I didn't either. But it'll be good if they potentially play Denver down the line. Like then they have home court advantage. But let's talk a little bit about the teams that they might play. The 9-10, the Kings and the Warriors. The Thunder were 2-2 against the Kings, 3-1 against the Warriors.
Yeah.
If you're the Thunder, do either of those teams scare you more or less than the other?
I would probably say experience-wise, probably
Everybody's saying the Warriors.
the Warriors. But I think the Warriors. I don't know. We'll
You're
know
a
tonight. I'm a
Kings
Kings
guy.
guy, so I think
You're
the
a
Warriors
Kings
actually
guy.
could lose tonight to the Kings and be done.
Mhm.
I think this year has proven that the Warriors. I think they're just already looking for next year.
You think?
I think they've cashed it in. I just think they're just not
Really?
great. I mean, Clay is not the same. Steph is obviously very good. Draymond Green, if he plays the whole game, that's a plus. So yeah, I don't know. One game in Sacramento, tough, but we'll see. I think the Kings would give them the best run. I think they could handle the Warriors. I don't. Yeah, like I said, I think the Warriors aren't very good.
Okay. So then the other options are the Lakers and the Pelicans. It's looking like the Lakers are going to beat the Pelicans.
Yeah. So if we're going live version, yes, I think the Lakers. Then they'll play.
The Thunder were 1-3 against the Lakers this year.
Yeah, I think the Lakers. I don't think anyone necessarily. I mean, they're obviously star-studded, so I don't think anyone wants to play them. I think if it was for them, they would probably want to play the Pelicans, who are not an easy game, but I think compared to the Lakers, it would be substantially different.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The Thunder were 2-1 against the Pelicans.
2-1 against Pelicans.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think, like we said, live, it looks like it's going to be the Lakers are going to get the 7.
It's looking like that.
So-
We'll see.
So yeah,
Okay.
so I would say the Pelicans. I think those two teams will win too. I think even if whoever loses this first game, Pelicans or Lakers, I think will win the next game.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
So
Order the team. If you're the Thunder, order the teams that scare you the most, from the most to the least, of those 4 teams. The
Of those
Kings,
4?
the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Pelicans.
Lakers. I don't want to say the exact order, but like
You're gonna
7, 8, 9, 10. But there's an argument for the Kings because I've been riding them all year. But I would say the Pelicans are definitely more scary than the Kings, if I'm being honest. So yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
There's a reason why it ended like
I don't think the Warriors this year, like I said, scare anyone. And I know I've been riding the Kings, but I don't think they necessarily scare a lot of people either.
No, they do not.
So
Okay. What would be the biggest reason why the Thunder make it to the NBA Finals?
make it to the NBA Finals?
Yes.
I would say it has to be Shea has to be the guy. I mean, that's pretty obvious, but that's how they'll make it to the finals. I think they'll first round matchup, even though those teams might scare them, I think they will take care of the first round matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Second round matchup is going to be a lot more difficult due to experience, due to superstar players and everything. So I think, when you look at just the West versus the East in general, there's an argument for all 6 of these West teams to make it to the finals. There is.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, so it's a lot scarier.
I'm asking.
So I think it would have to be the play of Shea, and I think they're young guys. I think, I don't know if it's Jalen Williams, J-A-Y or J-A-L, will have to step up and be big time too.
J-A-L.
Yeah,
Don't,
J-A-L.
don't disrespect him.
That's what I said. I didn't know which one, but the better one.
J-A-L.
J-A-L will have to step up too and be the guy. Because Shea will get his. So I think the first game they'll take care of business, but after that,
Correct.
it'll be interesting.
That's why I don't think that Shea's necessarily the answer there, is because he literally, he'll get you 30 on literally every night.
He has to, though.
Yeah, but
He has to.
he's shown that, his stat line is very consistent to, every single night. It's 30, 6, and 4, almost every single game. So, I'm not too worried about him. The biggest indicator for me is going to be the next 2 guys, Jalen Williams and Chet. If those two guys, because those are the guys that are going to have to guard on the perimeter if they play the Clippers. It'll be Jalen Williams guarding on the perimeter and Chet being a rim blocker. Mm-hmm. And then if they end up playing the Nuggets, then Chet's going to have to somehow guard Jokic.
Well, I think the reason that they would not succeed or not make it to the finals or the Western Conference Championship would be lack of experience and size.
Yes.
They just don't have the size to compete with all these. A lot of these teams have a guy who's a very solid big guy. I think even the Pelicans would maybe potentially give them a little bit run because Chet's guarding Zion.
Chet would probably guard Valanciunas to start.
Valanciunas. And so I think the size will be a good factor to determine. I just think they will run into issues. I think the inexperience also is a big thing for them. Where regular season, I think, is way different than playoffs.
That's probably what everybody will say is the knock that's going to bring them down is the inexperience.
Yeah.
But they're the one seed for a reason.
Yeah, but regular season is 15 times different than
it's different.
Playoffs.
But at the same time, I mean, everybody's just expecting the Lakers to go on a run because they have LeBron, and they're in the play-in because they barely won enough games to be in it.
Yeah, but like I said, the regular season, these guys sit out and only play 60 games, 55 games. Playoffs, they're playing all 7.
How many did LeBron
How many
play?
did AD play?
76.
How many did LeBron play?
I don't know. But that kind of hurts your argument for AD.
Potentially AD, yeah.
He played
sure.
76 games.
Yeah, how much did AD play? I mean, how much did LeBron play?
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. When you look at these teams, the stardom plays a huge factor because I think the experience is different. I think it will be shell-shocked for these younger
71.
teams. 71 games. So they played a lot.
Out of 82.
Correct. So that's why a lot of people are probably also expecting them to go somewhere is because they have the experience and they have the star power. I don't think when you look at the Thunder's lineup, they have one star.
Jalen Williams
is not a star compared to AD and compared to.
I mean, you can't compare him to AD.
We're comparing stars to stars.
He's an All NBA second teamer.
Would you say Jalen Williams is a top 20 player in the Western Conference?
In the Western Conference?
Yeah. Well, we're not talking straight NBA. NBA, no. But the Western Conference.
He's probably around 20.
Okay. So is that a star? I don't think that's a star.
I mean, he's the second best player on the best team in the West.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think the Thunder will struggle. I know the inexperience.
He's also, a second-year player?
That's what I'm saying. The inexperience does play a factor. We can't take that into consideration and be like, hey, they're the number one team. I get they're the number one team, but experience matters in the playoffs. Experience matters. We just talked about it on the last one where we said the Magic will struggle because they're not experienced, but maybe next year. Thunder are the same way. How many of those guys have played in a playoff game?
Yeah, but they have compared to anybody that they're playing, they're going to have most likely the best player on the court. That makes up the difference compared to the Magic.
I don't think that makes up the difference. When most teams that are in these playoffs have a guy who's averaging 25 to 30 points.
Yeah, but Shea is better than what Boncaro is for the Thunder.
Correct. So he's on the East. Western Conference wise, every single one of those teams has a guy that can compare with Shea.
Did you see him running?
Yeah, he tried to do his little sneak thing. Well, he's hurt too. He broke his ankle probably.
Oh God.
That's a foul. They're trying to foul.
Yeah. All right. You got anything more for the Pelicans or Thunder? For
Thunder, I can move on.
Okay, move on. All right, we got the Nuggets, number 2 seed. They snuck in there. They're going to play the Pelicans or the Lakers. They were very successful against both teams. It's getting a little closer here. 79-68, 2:14 left in the Lakers-Pelicans game. They were 2-1 against the Pelicans. This is the Denver. And then they were 3-0 against the Lakers. Honestly, do either of these two teams scare you if you're the Nuggets?
No. I don't think any team's scared. If I'm the Nuggets, I think it's not championship or bust, but I think nowadays it's back to... First of all, they lost one game to San Antonio, or else they would be the number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't think any of this scares me. You're basically bringing back the same team.
Pretty much. Pretty close.
You have all that. You have the MVP.
Yes, you do.
So I think the Nuggets been there, won it before.
Mm-hmm.
Getting healthy, everyone. So it's like, I think the Nuggets will roll whichever team, which is The Nuggets always surprise me though, because I feel like the Nuggets always play at least one game during the series where they're just like, it's whatever. We'll lose. We'll lose.
Between the Lakers and the Pelicans, which team do you think matches up better with the Nuggets? And it's helpful because you can see both teams in front of you.
Yeah, Alvarado doesn't really do it for me.
Damn.
I would probably say matches up and gives them a harder competition is what we're saying.
Matches up better with the Nuggets, and then in theory, if they match up better, they would make it a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, I would probably say the Lakers. You have the stardom, and you also have experience, and AD is probably, if we just talked about it, the third best player on the court. If you're calling LeBron the first, I mean, him and LeBron could probably be the number one together. So you have two stars. The Pelicans really don't have anyone. I mean, Brandon Ingram's solid. McCollum's solid. Zion's still trying to figure it out and it's solid. But it's like, I think the Lakers would give them more of a competition just because of that.
Okay.
Because don't let D'Lo get hot.
I think the Pelicans actually match up better with them.
Because
they have Valanciunas, who's a banger.
He fouls every game, yeah.
But he's a banger, and that would match up, like, in terms of matching up with Jokic, that's a fairly good matchup.
You think that's a better than like an AD matchup?
Well, so the issue is, if AD's banging with Jokic on defense, then the Lakers need AD to score, right?
Yeah.
And so if he's banging with Jokic, then that's going to hurt his offensive game.
Yeah.
So with the Pelicans, you can have Valanciunas bang all you want with Jokic, and they don't need him that much.
Offensively, he doesn't really do much, yeah.
Right? So in that regard, okay, then you have Zion going against Aaron Gordon, and you got your wing guys going against who? KCP's probably guarding Ingram,
or Michael Porter.
Michael Porter's probably guarding Herb Jones.
Yeah, size wise, it probably might match up.
I call him and Jamal Murray.
That's probably pretty.
Well, so the Pelicans would probably have Herb Jones guard Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
And then they would put McCollum on.
Yeah, I just
probably
think it's
KCP.
Yeah, it's just different because Jokic is just so much more athletic than everyone he plays against. Passing wise, everything wise. So it's like for him, pulling your big guy out to guard him at the 3-point line is very, very difficult. So it would be interesting to watch. I don't think either team stands a chance against the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets will walk through whoever they play. But
okay.
Yeah,
it's going to be challenging to see a team in the first round at least beat the Nuggets. Let's move on to the series of the hour.
Series of the year.
Yep, that's probably a better way to put it.
Yep.
Minnesota getting the 3 seed because they shit the bed. They're playing the Phoenix Suns. Starts on Saturday.
Would you say this is the
worst case scenario?
Worst case scenario.
Yes. Easily worst.
I didn't want to say it, but yes, I'm done.
Minnesota 0-3 against the Suns.
And just got smacked the last game of the year.
The last 2 games.
Yeah,
honestly,
2.
all 3.
I'm just saying the last game of the year when they played the Suns, it wasn't even close from the get go. We gave away 45 points in the first quarter.
And I'm saying literally all 3 games that we played them, they smacked us.
Yeah.
In the mouth, hard.
Yeah, that's a team.
So.
Yeah.
Give me your breakdown. I'll give you how much time you want. 1 minute. I'll give you 1 minute, and then you give me a minute. Break down the series. Give us what you're looking at. What's going to determine the series? All that. You get 1 whole minute.
You want to start, or you want me to start?
No, I want you to start.
Yeah.
Or I can start if you want me to.
Yeah, if you want to go for it.
Okay. I think the matchups just do not favor the Wolves. Here's the issue. Phoenix has 3 perimeter-oriented offensive players, right? In KD, Booker, and Beal. The Wolves have 2 main perimeter defenders, those being Jaden and Ant.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, no matter who we put Mike on, he has to guard. He has to guard
Grayson Allen.
Bradley Beal.
Oh, Bradley. Wait. Oh, really?
Yes, because so if you look at the Phoenix Suns starting lineup, right? You got Booker, Beal, KD, Grayson Allen, and Nurkic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Nurkic will be guarded by Gobert.
Mm-hmm.
You got KD will be guarded by Jaden or Ant.
I would say Jaden.
But
Booker,
most likely
probably.
Jaden,
Yeah.
right? Booker, Ant.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Grayson Allen and Bradley Beal. You have Cat and Mike Conley.
Yeah, screw either way.
So you ain't putting Cat on Bradley Beal.
No.
So you have to put Mike Conley on Bradley Beal. And then you put Cat on Grayson Allen. The issue is neither of those matchups are good for the Wolves.
Well, no, because you can't have Cat perimeter defense. He's going to get smoked.
Well, every single time they just screen, they use Grayson Allen to screen somebody, and then we
Get a
switch,
Yep.
and then Cat's guarding somebody, and Grayson Allen's being guarded by Jaden or Ant, and then it's
Yeah,
like, all
basically
right,
take him
well,
out of
this
play.
is not good.
Right.
So it's the matchups are just terrible for the Wolves, and that's what we've seen in the 3 games that they've played is. They just, I mean, Bradley Beal dominated us on Sunday because he's got Mike guarding him, and then all they have to do is have Grayson Allen go set a ball screen for Bradley Beal, and you have Cat and Mike Conley trying to work through that switching action. And if they don't get back to Grayson Allen, he led the league in 3-point percentage this year. And if you mess it up and go to Grayson Allen, then you have Bradley Beal, who's a easy
Super
bucket,
Right.
you know. So the matchups are just terrible.
And the hard part is, so thinking about it that way, and the hard part is you're never going to do this probably, but like, do you just match up? I mean, you're not going to have Cat come off the bench. Never mind.
No,
I was going to say, because you can't. The problem is offensively.
Who are you?
Well, I was going to say just go a little bit smaller, or go somewhere different, and have Gobert play minimal, and then come back in and have Nurkic play.
We're not putting Gobert out there minimally. He's the reason why our defense is so good.
Yeah, but so what's the answer? You got smoked all 3 games. Can't do the same thing we did all season. So what's the answer? You got to change something up. I mean, it's like one of those things where I get it's not ideal, but at some point we need to change up the answer.
I don't know the answer, to be quite honest with you.
So that's the deciding factor of this series will be Chris Finch. Can he get his money's worth and show us how to defend against this team?
If we could figure out our defense and our offense, I mean, honestly, both are not great because they put so much focus on just like sitting in, and so now we're talking Wolves offense, Suns defense, right? They put so much pressure on focusing on Ant and not letting him drive to the basket that we need others to make outside shots. Mike does a good job of it. The X factor for the Wolves. No,
You're talking
I'm
starters?
mainly talking starters, yeah.
No.
The X factor for the Wolves Jaden has to make some shots. He has stunk it up shooting from the perimeter. It has been so poor. He needs to step up to the plate and make a couple outside shots. I hope this whole week he's just in the gym. Corner three, corner three, corner three, corner three. Just rep after rep after rep. Like, he needs to make more than 1 to 2 threes a game. Like, if he can get to 2 to 3, I mean, 4 would be just like dynamite. That almost guarantees us a win. But if he gets
that's
2
a
to
tall task.
I know.
Jaden McDaniels 4 threes a game?
No, I'm not saying every game.
Oh.
But like, if he could sneak up to 4 one game, and then if he's hitting 2 to 3 each game, because if Ant drives, they bring everybody in. Obviously, it's better if Mike's the one that's getting the kick out, Cat's getting the kick out, Nas, like literally all these other guys. But we need Jaden in the game to guard KD, so he has to be able to make the threes when his guy sags in to stop Ant's drive. He kicks it out. He has to know that when he kicks it out, it's going to be wide open made three.
Yeah, tall task, but it could be. I mean, here's the.
But you think about all the guys that I just named that are like substitute kick out guys, like Mike, Nas, even J Mac. Like he didn't play that much against him on Sunday, but a little bit. Like all of those guys are making threes. The issue is we need Jaden for defense, so he's going to be out there.
Right. So there's, yeah. So the reality is essentially we have to match up with them, but we're matching up with them defensive first, offensive second.
Well, we can cross matchup.
I also think the reality is the Timberwolves need to show that they're not just playing this one-on-one basketball and start moving the ball now that Cat's back, because Cat will hit a few threes here and there. If he starts hitting some threes and starts shooting well, just do the same thing. I would imagine looking at those Suns players, defensively, they're probably switching almost everything just as well.
It's gonna be good for the Wolves if we can play through Cat.
Yes, play through Cat.
Yeah.
Let him work. I think Mike, like you said, has been solid all year, but I think the hardest part is it comes down to, like you said, defensively, we need a defensive stopper, Jaden, guarding Kevin Durant, give him the hardest matchup. But then offensively, Jaden is a liability. They will let Jaden shoot.
Yeah, it's not been good.
No, it's not been good, and I hope it changes, but that will be a big time factor. Is defensively we'll be fine, offensively, question marks.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I think it'll be an interesting matchup. I think it'll be interesting to see how we come out game one. I do think it'll be interesting to see how we game plan against it because, like you said, the first 3 games in the year, it wasn't even close.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think one game we scored 87 points.
That's why we get a whole week to prepare.
Yeah, this is why you get paid the big bucks.
That's right.
So the biggest factor will probably be Cat. Cat and Jaden McDaniels making shots. But Cat being able to stay in the game and hit some shots too. Because Ant's gonna score his. Rudy versus Nurkic will be a very he's
Ant hasn't really scored that much because they put so much focus on him. So if our second and third options on offense can
Cat's
score.
A great option. Yeah.
Yeah. Cat. I mean, we're gonna need 20 to 25 every game from Cat.
Yeah, to stay in it. Yeah, I mean you got 3 superstars on the Suns, so
correct.
That's why they pay the big bucks.
That's right.
But defensively, they're not anything special. The hardest part is, I will say, even for them, is if you can slow Grayson Allen down, which is a tall task. The reason he's so good is because you have 3 superstars. I mean, he knows his role. He only has to make threes.
Did you ever think that the issue that we'd be talking about in a playoff series is to slow Grayson Allen down?
To minimize Grayson Allen?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. He's shown glimpses. Even when he was on the Bucks, he's shown a
strap.
Even
he makes every single three.
He did that at Duke. He got just a bad rap because he wasn't a good guy. He was good at Duke though, and also at the same time, he was good on the Bucks. He was solid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he used to used to be the same thing. Giannis drives, kick out Grayson Allen.
Okay.
So yeah, now it's hard because now you have 3. It'll be an interesting series. Hopefully, it's not an ideal one, but if you get through the Suns, I would probably say, looking at it, the Suns probably are the 3rd or 4th favorite to win the championship. I think so.
It's actually not true. The Suns have a lower
worse odds than us.
Yes.
Really? If they weren't playing the Timberwolves,
they're 20 to 1 to win, and we're 18 to 1.
I think that's crazy. That's good odds. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because the hardest part too, also with game planning against the Suns and doing all that is, they've played. All 3 of them have played what together? All 3 superstars have played how many games together this year? Less than 20.
I don't know, 20-ish.
Yeah, so about 20. So it's hard.
Maybe a little bit more, but about 20.
Now playoffs. Now apparently everyone's got the magic juice, so they're all healthy. So
yeah, they're good to go.
Great.
All right, let's get our last series in here. The Clippers and Dallas.
Yeah, intriguing.
4-5 matchup. It was settled quite a while ago, honestly, like a week ago. This was like the one series that everybody's known that this is what was going to happen.
Yeah, it didn't change.
They pretty much play each other almost every single year. And the Clippers were 2-1 in the regular season against the Mavericks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know you're not a big Dallas fan.
Not a big Dallas fan, but I think they can put up a good fight. Yes, I think with Luka and Kyrie kind of coming along, and they're kind of just playing a good brand of basketball. I mean, Kawhi's not going to be back for the series.
He's questionable.
Potentially.
He started to practice again. He's been hurt a little bit lately.
Yeah.
He's a maybe.
He's a maybe.
Yeah.
And I will say this: Paul George, has been kind of hit or miss, and also Russell Westbrook is washed. So if there's one team I dislike,
anybody else you want to name?
Yeah, I actually do want to name James Harden's whack too. So without Kawhi Leonard, if Kawhi Leonard doesn't play this series, I do think the Mavericks can take care of business because there's not more guys than I hate than watching Russell Westbrook play.
All right, so are we going to go through the Mavericks roster too?
Mavericks, they have 2 guys. They have Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic.
Okay.
And they have Daniel Gafford. Don't forget the big guy. Don't
He's
forget.
He's not the third guy that you want to name.
He's the third guy I'm
What
naming.
about PJ?
Oh, I mean, maybe, but Gafford is a solid big guy. I mean, Tim Hardaway Jr. also could be named, to be honest.
No, PJ Washington is clearly their third guy.
It's, if we're doing it on a scale, it's 1, Luka, 2, Kyrie, skip 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, PJ's 8, and he's their third best option.
I mean, if you're doing that, you have to skip 2, maybe 3, and then put Kyrie in.
You think PJ is?
Yes.
I'm only averaging 12 points a game.
He's the third most important player for their team.
Okay. I was like, Gafford's decent, though. Gafford's a good big guy.
I'm
It was a
not,
good pickup
I'm not
for him.
saying that he's not decent. I'm saying that PJ Washington is more important to him. Because here's the deal. Okay, so you got Luka, you got Kyrie, and then you got PJ on the perimeter. He's gonna have to guard Kawhi or Paul George.
Yeah, if Kawhi plays, yeah.
Right. Well, if he doesn't play, then he's gonna be guarding PG. So
then
he's
you have
important.
Luka. Yeah.
They
he's important.
need him.
Defensively.
And to score a little bit, make the Clippers guys tired. That's guarding him.
Who do you think would guard him?
I don't know.
Paul
whoever's
George
left.
or Terrence Mann?
James Harden.
Ugh.
Maybe.
As the power forward? Yeah. I don't know. This Clippers team doesn't really scare me, especially if Kawhi Leonard's out. I think they would be a favorable
They
matchup.
don't scare you. That they were everybody's hot pick at the All-Star break to make to the championship.
They were everyone's hot pick before the All-Star game when they had a chance.
Right around it.
Yeah, so I think if Kawhi can play, definitely obviously gives him more hopes, but I don't know if it's looking that way, so it's going to be a tough stretch. And Luka's playing out of his mind. Of his mind, and Kyrie is actually very exciting to watch now too. He's back.
But Luka, that's what he does. That's how he plays.
But the
So,
difference was
Don't
before
be surprised by that.
Yeah, I think the difference was before you had just Luka. Now Kyrie is coming along, so you actually do have to respect Kyrie a little bit. Last year, I think Kyrie was hurt for most of it, / not playing. So, I think they scare me a little bit. I think this series will be very exciting. I actually do think the Mavericks will upset them, beat the Clippers.
Okay. What do you think is going to be the reason why they upset them? Like, what's going to lead them to upsetting them?
I think just the star power of Luka, and I think without Kawhi, the Clippers will struggle to score.
Okay.
They'll rely too much on a washed-up Russell Westbrook and a whack James Harden.
They're not really relying on Russell Westbrook.
But I'm just saying that's the difference. So Kyrie is substantially better than I think James Harden this year, and so I also will take that over. And I think Gafford's better than Zubac. So I actually think, and like you said, PJ Washington is going up against who? Who on the Clippers? Terrence Mann?
No, Terrence Mann won't guard him.
I'm just saying as another player on the fourth guy on the team. Like who's their starting lineup? Terrence Mann.
Harden, Kawhi, PG, and Zubac.
And if Kawhi doesn't play, does Russell Westbrook?
No, probably Norman Powell.
Norman Powell. Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. So yeah, I would take that Dallas Mavericks team over him.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Okay. I'm gonna say that Dallas has to push the pace. They just want to score. That's how they're gonna beat the Clippers. That's my 2 cents.
They have to push the pace.
Yeah, they gotta outscore them. That's what's gonna lead.
That's how you win.
That's what's
You
gonna
score more than your opponent.
That's right. But they gotta push the pace to make it a little bit easier on themselves to win. That's how they're gonna win.
Ooh, PJ Washington is a little hurt.
So there you go.
A little banged up. Don't like it.
All right. Anything else you want to add for the first round matchups, first round series?
No, should be good ones. The West should be a lot more competitive than the East, to be honest.
I mean, I don't know about that.
I think so.
If you have, well, we can take out Boston because everybody just expects them to steamroll everybody.
Mhm.
You got the Knicks and the 76ers. That should be a fairly good matchup.
Yeah,
Potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, the Knicks against the 76ers, the Knicks against the Heat, both would be pretty good series, right?
Potentially, yeah.
You think?
I mean, if it's the Knicks Heat, we're talking slowest series again. A lot.
But it would be competitive.
Sure, yeah.
And the Knicks Sixers would also be competitive.
I think the Sixers will come out and dominate the
But
Knicks.
would it be competitive?
No, I think they'd win in 5. I don't think it would be competitive.
All right.
So I'm all on the. I think the Sixers are better.
Okay, I disagree, but anyways, the Bucks Pacers. Do you think that will be a competitive series?
Does competitive mean it's going 6 or 7?
The games will be competitive, close.
To be honest, I guess you could call it a
I
competitive
think
series.
that'll be a competitive series. Cavs, Orlando.
Yeah.
See, I don't think that one is as competitive. So we both have 2 series that will be fairly competitive in the East.
Yeah.
And then in the West, Oklahoma City and whoever they play.
Yeah.
You think it would be competitive
Yes.
against the Lakers
I think it'll be
or
competitive.
the Pelicans?
Yes.
I think that it'll be 5, maybe 6.
If
but
they
I
play the
think
Lakers,
5.
yeah, but 6 is competitive. 6 is that means the other team won at least 2 games.
Yeah, 6 is a maybe. 6 is a maybe. Denver.
I think the Denver series will not be. I think Denver will smoke whoever they play.
Yep. Minnesota.
Yep. Clippers. Mavericks. Yep.
Okay.
I just think those
2 or 3. So I mean, it's
very similar.
It's 2.
But I
we
think
got
there's an
2 in
argument.
the East and we got 2 or 3 in the West.
There's an argument to be made for all. I mean, the Pacers, if Giannis doesn't play, could smoke them. Right? I mean, who else do the Bucks? I mean, the Bucks are relying.
I don't think the Pacers will smoke the Bucks, even if Giannis doesn't play the whole game, the whole series.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll wait and see. Heard it here first.
Yep.
Go
There you have
Kings.
it. That's how we're gonna wrap up this week.
Yeah, big time.
Episode 100, or I guess week 100.
Bang.
See ya.
Week 100. Oh, it's not episode 100. It's